Hello, my name is Jeremy, just your average everyday guy. That is until sometime in my early 30s, I developed a spinal condition known as ankylosing spondylitis. It took me from this, 6 foot tall, to this, not 6 foot tall. But I wasn't going to let that get me down forever, so eventually I kicked some bad habits and started fighting back. I still get some pretty strange looks, but I'm now doing what I love, traveling and adventuring. My goal is to show other people with disabilities or anyone facing challenges that your best days don't have to be behind you and that there's always hope. So thanks for joining me, the Handicapped Hiker.
Here we are again. Welcome everyone. We last left off nearing completion on the electrical system and getting ready to install my tiny bathtub. Let's jump right back into it and see how far we can get on this episode. I know some folks want to get back to the travel videos, and some of you might only be here for the van build. Either way, this project was a big accomplishment for me, and I'm going to share the entire thing. We'll be back on the road very soon. Thanks for being so patient.
Okay, I've got the wall framed, wall panel wrapped in the tweed fabric, fastened to the front of the frame, and a piece of that rubberized foam on top. The height looks pretty good, and we just need to get it under the lip here in place and then screwed down to the floor. this goes into the top. Along with this foam ring. Wait a minute. I've got this whole thing on backwards. That foam seal's supposed to be under the tub. Alright, so the rubber gasket goes on the bottom. It's a good thing I Googled that at the last minute. I'm concerned that if I go any tighter than that, I'm going to strip these plastic threads. So I'm going to give it one slight little more crank and that's it. Yep, that's all there is. Any more is going to break it, so we'll go ahead and thread on our drain pipe rubber gasket. Goes right there. These are all plastic threads, so don't over crank them too much. Remember, this isn't pressurized water, it's just gravity drain. Drain ain't going through. The only thing I can do is thread it from under the van, and that's not going to go on very tight. This tub, it's amazing it hasn't broken as much as I'm moving it around. Let's get this tub in before it breaks. Let's get it screwed in. Go take a lunch break. The directions said to stand in the tub while you're screwing it in, so let's see how that goes. It's the first time I've been in it. All right, 21 days to go. Got a lot done yesterday, but it was all stuff that doesn't look like I got much done. But today, I'm getting the rest of my FRP shower walls cut out. I've got the two end walls cut already. And what I'm finding works best for that, because this stuff is a very thin fiberglass, it will chip easily. A lot of recommendations online say to use a carbide or diamond bit, but what I'm doing is using my scroll saw with a a metal cutting blade for thin metal, and I've got my speed as slow as it'll go, and it is working very well. And the stuff also, if you're not right on the line, it sands very easily with a power sander. Alright, let's try this again. I cannot believe that fits that well on the second try. Okay, I'm very happy with that. Let's go make those adjustments and cut it out on the FRP. Oh! I cut it backwards. That's a costly mistake. I don't think I have enough material to do it again. Alright, so I got the shower wall panels up. I didn't film it. As you remember, when I cut this back wall panel, I cut it backwards by accident. So I went ahead and I had to make it 2 pieces this time, because I didn't have a large enough piece of material left over to do one solid piece. So I have a seam up the middle, but I do have PVC plastic trim for all these edges and seams, so everything will be finished off real nice and neat. So although it looks rough right now, I'm just happy that they're up, because that was a real pain in the butt. I would recommend, if you're doing this, buy the shower wall kit that comes with your tub. They're expensive. I think I saw them $400 or $500 for the 3-wall surround in one piece. But if you can do that, I highly suggest it. This was a lot of work cutting these panels, and then to glue them up you have to trowel adhesive on the back side with a trowel that has 1/4-inch notches. So as you're troweling it, you're putting grooves in the adhesive and then pressing these in place. They want to slide down every so many minutes, so you have to keep coming in and pushing them back up and adjusting them. So it's just been a real hassle. It would have been so much easier to buy the shower walls and do it all in one piece and just make my angle cut. These are up. It was not fun, but they're up. It's done. It's behind me now. All I have to do now is cut all these trim pieces. They are plastic PVC, so they won't rot, and I have stainless screws to put them in. Alright, so now I've got the trim put up on the front edge of the tub walls. And now what I'm going to do is put the shower head on, the mixing handle, and the faucet just to kind of give me some sense of finality on this project. Alright, so now I'm going to cut the panel to go on the back of these cabinets that you see when the sliding door is open. And this will get wrapped in that gray leather pattern vinyl to match. Alright, so that is our refrigerator. Now we got to do the stove next, which requires drilling another hole through here. Go under here, yeah. And then through. Okay, so the fridge wire is hooked up. The wire for the stove is run through the wall to above the fridge. Obviously, I can't wire the stove up until I get this countertop in. So we're going to leave that for now and then come back here and get started on our 120 volt AC connections. This is going to be the switch for the outlet that powers the water heater. And this will be a 12 volt switch for the water pump. So I did get a new switch where you can put the wires in from behind and tighten down with a pressure plate, because this is marine grade wire. It's stranded. You can't bend it around the screw, then tighten the screw down like you do with solid wire, because all the frays, all the little strands come apart and you don't have a very good connection there. This is the kind of stuff that takes forever and it doesn't feel like you're getting anything done because it's not anything big like a wall or a countertop, all the stuff that you want to get to. But this is the stuff that has to be done. Very tedious. Alright, let's get the pretty cover plate on. And yes, I'm gonna line the screws up because I am like that. Okay. Hot water on, hot water off. One thing done. Now we have to make sure these screws don't go into the plastic tank, obviously. Before I get too far into this, I need to put a breather valve in this water tank. I cut another 1-inch opening with my hole saw and drill to put this breather vent in. It just goes through the hole. Then there's a gasket and a plastic nut on the bottom side of the tank. And of course, this hatch made it possible to get in there and tighten that up. I've gone ahead and screwed down the water heater now. I put a tie down on the electrical cable. I've got it plugged in now. So now all I have to do is go into the panel and wire that circuit. Now we've got the accumulator tank, this run of plumbing here. I'm going to take this flexible hose, run it from there up to the cold water inlet. Then from here we're going to go down and forward to the sink and shower. And then from the hot water out, we're going to come over, down, and then forward to the sink and shower. So we're getting there. Well, folks, I didn't want to spend the money on 2 different color pipes, so I'm running blue for everything, hot and cold. I'll just mark the hot one with some red vinyl tape or something every couple of feet. Alright, I got quite a bit of these plumbing connections done, and then I realized I don't have enough crimp rings to finish this job. So I'm going to have to make an early morning run to Home Depot, and while I'm there I'm going to get some straight pieces of the pipe so I don't have to mess with trying to uncurve the piping that I bought that's in a coil. It does not want to straighten out, and I'm not going to mess with it. At least not for this long straight run through here, along here and through the cabinet. I'm just going to buy a couple of straight pieces, and I'll get one that's red to cut down on the confusion here. Okay, so right as I was about to start cutting these pieces of wood to support the bench seats, it started raining again. So while it was raining, I went ahead and installed these rivet nuts so I can mount my upper cabinets. So I've got all those in place, but now I'm going to take advantage of the good weather and get my bench seats cut out and get those moving along so I can see what all I'm going to do here. Alright, let's see. Wow. That's actually not bad. Alright, here's the first bench seat, at least the bottom part. Alright, well, I almost made my first mistake of the day right off the bat. I was going to go ahead and crimp this elbow in and then go crimp the other end of this pipe in the sink, but then I just now realized if I do this first and I go in and crimp it in the sink crooked, then I'm screwed back here. So this needs to go last. And I almost did it first because I'm not thinking things through. But luckily, I caught myself. Been making a lot of mistakes like that lately that cause a lot of extra work. Alright, so let's go take care of this pipe inside the van first. So I just showed you a mistake I almost made and caught myself, and then I immediately went and made another dumb mistake. I went ahead and made this connection without thinking about it and realized that the cold water line is supposed to go on this side and this side's supposed to be the hot. Just a big, dumb, stupid mistake, not thinking things through, worrying about what the next step is instead of worrying about what step I'm on. And this is what the pressure of deadlines does to me. I don't like that. So I need to just calm down and worry about one step at a time and think things through better. Alright, so I'm going to cut this off and get this fixed. And I guess I should have did this first. There, now we know that's hot water. Very good. Alright, so now I'm looking at some way to secure this red pipe here from moving too much. And what I decided to do, since I want to protect all of this plumbing here anyways from whatever cargo I store back here, I'm going to put a piece of expanded metal up here, and I'll just go ahead and zip tie to that. That looks pretty good. But I'm not going to do that right now, like I said, because if I were to fasten that right now, I would have a terrible time crimping that elbow in this last piece of cold water supply here. This is the kind of stuff I need to stop and think about. I'm making a lot of mistakes and nearly making a lot more. So the other end of this inlet line has a check valve on it that's pretty heavy that I hose clamped onto the other end of this, and it's laying in the bottom of the tank. And I'm going to make this as short of a run as possible to the pump. And again, these hose clamp connections are scaring me. And then this is from the pump into the accumulator. Okay, now there's my wiring. I can make that connection and run it. And some conduit over to the DC distribution panel. Even though it's 16 gauge wire, I used the 14 gauge stripper. That way I know I'm not going to cut any of the metal strands. And the sheathing comes off pretty easy. Black goes to black, red goes to red. Pretty simple. Okay, there's one. My shins and ankles are still sore from doing this last week. Come on, just a little bit longer on my ankles. This is a good workout for rock scrambling anyways. Alright, now I'm going to take the piece of butcher block that I cut and set it down here 2 different ways. See if it works better, wider or longer. First, I'm going to try it the way I had drawn it up on the computer.
which is longer than it is wide. A little more than 4 1/4, a little. For me, this works. This way works for me. So I got my butcher block tabletop cut the way I need it. I still need to do some sanding, but right now what I'm doing is drilling out this area here where the hinge is, and this is the bottom of the table. I have to drill out a different side from the top, but it's going to fit these USB ports. But these USB ports are going to be mounted into the top of the table, so I can use them when the table is up or down. This seems like as good a place as any to wrap up this episode. Next time around, we'll get to the finished wall panels and the upper cabinets. But will I finally reach the finish line? You'll just have to tune in to find out, because even I don't know yet. If you enjoyed this video, ever so gently click that like button. Also comment, share, and make sure you're subscribed for free. Thank you for watching.